So in this video we're going to be going over my cut so far. Right now I've been cutting for about over 2 months. We're about in the middle of the summer, give or take. Not yet as of recording this video, but it's going pretty well. I still technically need to drop 2 kilos on this cut. I'm not sure if I want to drop 2 kilos. I feel like I'm already pretty lean and I look pretty good right now. Maybe I'll put a photo of me. But anyways, the cut has been going well. I wanted to share in this video my thoughts on the cut, what I did right, what I did wrong, as well as things you could perhaps learn from my cut, and just overall thoughts about my physique right now and what I'm going to be doing in the future, as well as what other people have commented on my physique and things like that. I just wanted to open up on the whole cut and the process and how it's been going, my strength loss or strength gains, things like that. So let's get into the video. So first of all, let's start with the cut and how it started. I started a couple of months ago, just before summer, in April. And in April I lost like 5 to 6 kilos of weight, and then I lost another 5 in May. So I lost a total of like 10 kilos pretty much of weight, and the lowest I dropped down to was 79.4 kilos. After that I kind of rebounded back to 80 kilos on this during the summer here, but that was kind of just my body struggling from the deficit. But overall the cut went pretty well. I didn't lose a massive amount of strength overall. I'm pretty happy. I'm the strongest I've ever been at this body weight, so I can squat like, I've pretty much kept my squat max the same. I can pretty much squat like 160 kilos, so my strength on squat is pretty much the same, as well as my deadlift strength hasn't really gone down either. So my deadlift and squat are completely fine pretty much on the cut. I've been pretty happy with that. My bench has gone down for sure, at least a little bit, by a few, so maybe like 5% I think. About 5% maybe strength loss or so. Not too bad. So I've overall maintained my strength very well. I would attribute all of my strength gains and losses to just the fact that I haven't lost a lot of strength because of the fact that I've been eating a lot of protein and eating very consistently and healthily. I've also tried to get in my micronutrients as much as possible, eating a lot of salad and things like that. But just the protein is really what's been helping me keeping my strength, and that's probably the number one tip, is just eat a lot of protein as much as you kind of can within reason. So like, I don't think you have to do the 1 gram per pound of body weight or like whatever. I don't think that's a little bit too much. I don't think you need that much. You just need the average amount, that like maybe between like 100 and 160 would be good, depending on your obviously different genetics like height, body weight, etc., and muscle mass and other things. But overall, like around that range. So I found that on this cut overall I felt very good for most of the cut. I would say now at the end of the cut I don't feel so good anymore, because I've ran out of fuel. I lost over 10 kilos of weight and I feel very lethargic, and I feel very like I want to eat all the time. So that's one thing, even though I'm not even technically completely, like I'm not at the point where I would be like getting really shredded. I'm fairly like, I'm seeing some visible progress for sure, so it's not too bad. So I'm definitely happy with the progress I've seen. But one thing I learned on this cut especially is I definitely need to do another bulk. Obviously this whole point of this cut was to make room for another bulk. The next bulk is going to be either same length as this one, or it's going to be like a year-long bulk. I might do that, might bulk through the next summer if I feel like it. We'll see on the progress that I get. But I also have a lot of complications coming up perhaps to stop me from doing that, so we'll see what happens. That's for the future. We're not going to be worrying about the future right now. Let's talk about this cut. Some things I've noticed though is Arm strength has definitely gone down. My arm size is not the greatest. Like, I just don't have the biggest arms. My genetics are not that great. I can definitely fit a few fingers between my bicep and my forearm. So my insertion point is not the greatest, and my genetic line for arms is not very good. I'm very powerlifting dominant, as in I can like squat and deadlift a lot. My bench is kind of average, you could say. Not great, not bad, but it's okay. Right now I can bench about 102 kilos, so it's pretty average, like in terms of, not in terms of like average strength, but it's like, I would say I'm like what an average person could achieve. I'm at the same level as anybody. On the bench press, it's nothing to be going crazy about. And I would say my triceps are fairly big-ish, but my biceps are lagging definitely, and that's something to bring up on the next box, or the next bulk, however long that is. That's why I was thinking to actually bulk over the next summer, is just to get the arms, bring up the arms, honestly. Just bulk for like a year straight, lean bulk, and just fucking absolutely bring up the arms and do my thing. Now, as far as other things go, I felt like what I did right on this bulk was, again, my eating was on point, my cardio was on point. I would say cardio is a major point, is you have to get at least 10,000 steps a day. And I would recommend some kind of incline cardio. That's definitely worked for me. We're always doing 30 minutes of incline every day. So 10-degree incline, 30 minutes, 5.5 kilometers an hour, for example, or higher. That works really well for weight loss. Overall, the 10 kilos dropped really fast with the cardio and the eating. Like, it only took 2 months to drop over 10 kilos of weight. That's pretty fucking amazing. I'm really happy with how I dropped the weight. I certainly have more muscle mass now than I did before, when I was like 82 kilos, like maybe over a year ago. I was like around 82 kilos. Maybe about 2 years ago I was 82 kilos, and I've definitely gained muscle mass, and cutting is way easier now. But still, like, I could still add more muscle mass to make it easier, and that's one thing I noticed is I still need to bulk more so I can have more muscle mass to make the cuts easier. I can eat more food. I don't have to worry so much about TDE, and just like, I still have to do cardio obviously, but I would just be able to do a lot more with the cut and have more room to cut even lower perhaps, and be even more lean and look better. And I don't think I have the muscle mass right now to support looking amazing, so I kind of end up looking a little bit skinny, mostly because of my arms. I think if I took my shirt off, it would kind of give some more proportion to my arms, because if I just pose, for example, wearing like a tank top, I end up looking kind of smaller because of my arms, and my arms not kind of being up there with the rest of my physique. So I kind of have that like powerlifter physique going on, deadlifter physique right now, because my arms have never been that great part. I've always trained my arms somewhat hard, I would say, in my own opinion, especially as in the last bulk, but it's still kind of not enough because I haven't been doing it long enough. So my arms are a little bit lagging behind, and makes my physique not look as good. Otherwise, I feel like on this bulk, and this next bulk, I want to bring up my arms mostly, and of course grow everything else as well, but mostly just my arms. I think that's the main lagging body part for me, is my arms. Like, otherwise I think I look pretty solid. I can obviously grow everything else a little bit as well, but I think my arms are really the main focus of my next bulk. It's just getting arms. I'm going to structure my training more around the arms and optimizing for that. And we'll see how that goes when I start doing that. Either way, I've been having an arm day on this cut as well as on the bulk, and it's definitely helped. But I've also definitely lost strength on my arms by a little bit, not maybe like 5% strength loss, so it's not too bad. Overall, like, on the bench and arms I lost 5% strength. On the legs I didn't really lose too much strength, maybe like again 5% max. On the squat, the deadlift is pretty much the same. No real strength loss, to be honest. I actually almost put a PR on the deadlift on this cut at one point. Around like 83 kilos, I was able to almost pull a PR, like a 5 kilo PR on the deadlift, which is funny. And overall, like this video is kind of I feel like this video is a little bit of a ramble, but I kind of want to just put my entire thoughts of this cut in this one video. It's going to be pretty unstructured, but maybe you can get something out of it and get something out of my experience with the cut. I just want to kind of just ramble about my thoughts about the cut, as well as my plans and how I think you should execute a cut. And I think the best ways to execute the cut in the future, for me and for anybody watching this, if you're going to cut, make sure you actually have muscle mass to cut down to like a lower body weight from, because if you don't have muscle mass, it's going to be very hard to cut. Even if you do cardio and eat properly, it's going to be hard to cut. So make sure you have muscle mass built. You can see when you have muscle mass built. I definitely had enough muscle mass built to cut. Like I would say I look better now in a lot of ways. Yes, my arms are skinnier kind of, but I look good overall. I'm pretty happy with my physique. My face looks way better as well. The face bloat goes away. But anyways, besides the point, do cardio. Incline cardio I would recommend, though you can do any form of cardio you like. Track your calories. That's one thing I did, is tracking my calories. That's very important. Is track your calories and do what is necessary in terms of that. It helps a lot with cutting. At least have a base idea of what you're eating. You don't have to completely track everything, but just track the calories a little bit at least. So you get a baseline idea what you're eating, how much you need to lower your calories, and what you can survive on, basically. You want to eat as little as possible, but as much as possible as well, that you feel good during the cut and you don't feel like shit all the time, because that's the worst, is when you feel like shit. I'd say cutting is easier as long as you have fat, but once you lose the fat, then it becomes very hard to actually like cut. Some of this is probably not new information if you're not a complete beginner to lifting or newer to lifting, I'm sure, but I just wanted to share my thoughts and tips and what I did on this cut personally. For me, the most important thing I think on this cut that I learned would definitely be just you have to be very patient and consistent. And the hardest thing for me, the best thing I also learned on this cut is the importance of bulking, honestly. Like, you have to bulk and gain size. Like, cutting it's usually just not worth it unless you have mass. You have to bulk, and the feeling you get when you're in a cut, you kind of start missing bulking, because it's like, damn, even though I look better, you kind of miss eating that food and gaining size and strength. It's kind of a dilemma in the lifting community with naturals, is you either look kind of skinny and shredded and you look good in a sense, but at the same time you can't eat anything, so you're always hungry and feeling like shit. So it's just like finding that balance is very difficult, and that's been my main thing, especially at the end of the cut, is just not being able to eat anything and going forward with that. But anyways, maybe I'll do an update video on what I'm gonna do next. Right now I'm kind of like gaining, you could say, at this body weight, maintaining this body weight, and then I'm going to try to lower 2 more kilos off from this, and we'll see what happens with that. I'll probably do some kind of a vlog at some point where I go through some of the stuff and the cutting and what I'm doing, and update on that on the future. But anyways, thank you for watching this video. I know this video was a bit of a ramble, maybe not very structured at all, but I kind of just wanted to give my thoughts honestly. This is not scripted at all. I kind of just talked from my mind, and maybe you can get something out of it. I hope so. The information was kind of spread out through the video, so I feel like it's a bit maybe hard to understand, but I hope you got the main point out of it. Maybe you grab some information out of it, hopefully, and my tips for cutting. Anyways, thank you for watching the video, and see you soon.